Yo, what's up traders? Just coming at you with a quick little video this Saturday with RKT. I know this was a pretty hot one in the chat room on Friday. I know a lot of you guys were talking about the IPO. I didn't go ahead and trade it, but you guys probably remember we had some limit orders right around here. I think it was like 22.20 or something like that. We just missed some of these dips. Those were only going to be day trades, not swing trades, not investments or anything like that. But I do want to talk about RKT just a little bit and going into the week, and just kind of having an overview on this recent IPO because it kind of was a pretty loud one, and I think a lot of people were talking about it. So I made some notes here, and let me just kind of zoom in here a little bit. Let's see if this is like a good area. Yeah, maybe just one more. Okay, so some key points on RKT, and actually if we just kind of let's go back here and then zoom out to the daily so we can kind of see what this thing's up to, because it just recently IPO'd on the 6th, and if I think that's a Thursday, yeah, yesterday was a Friday. Okay, so yeah, it IPO'd, I think it was at $18 or so. Let's go here and talk about it. So basically, RKT, or Rocket Companies, if you guys don't know, it's basically the shelf company or the umbrella corporation for Quicken loans and Rocket Mortgage. And if you guys have not been to their websites, they're pretty nice and simple to use, especially the Rocket Loan one. You can kind of see how it is a little bit more user-friendly than, let's say, going through your bank back end and then filling out a massive form and getting in contact with somebody. So that's kind of what Rocket Mortgages and Quicken Loans kind of pride themselves off of, just kind of quick user experience. And these guys have grown quite a lot actually in the recent years. So let me just pull up some numbers here. We'll just go through the quick stats, but basically they have a market shares outstanding 150. Usually I don't talk about this too much, or you probably don't see too many people talking about that. But the reason I found this quite interesting is because we're typically trading small caps. If you guys are on the live streams, you guys know we're trading small caps. And the floats are typically 5 10 million is what we're looking for. South of 10 million, south of 50 million are ideal. So shares outstanding on this one 150 million, so much bigger company. 40 billion obviously market cap. That's a huge company compared to what we're typically trading. But again, this would be for anything in my swing trade or my $25,000 challenge portfolio, so it'd be a little bit a different place. So just keep that in mind. This is not really for our small cap day trading. I found this statistic pretty strong. 19% compounded annual growth rate. That's a really strong growth rate, especially I would say in the mortgage industry. That's kind of like getting on that lending tree kind of growth. We'll talk about some comparables in a little bit. This is also what I really like to see. So 1% in 2009, they had an overall market share on the mortgage industry, and now they are coming towards 9% in 2020. So that's a really nice kind of size, I would say. And so they IPO'd on Thursday. So the initial IPO was for 150 million shares ranging between $20 and $22. There was a little bit less demand, and the final IPO was for 100 million shares at 18 per share. And they raised about $1.8 billion. So you guys can go through these stats at your own time. I'm going to leave a link to this post in the first comment below this video. Here's some sources that I used, but we'll talk a little bit about what I think where this could maybe go, and then what I always like to do is kind of look at some comparables. So I have this open right here, and this I don't know how this is going to look on the video, but let me just maybe zoom in one more time. But here's some, so RKT is in the mortgage finance section industry. So we have some comparables. Something that I would probably look at is something like, lending tree it's a bit different because it's peer-to-peer. But let's just kind of pull this one up. And I think oftentimes PennyMac Financial Services gets compared to it. They also have a low PE right here of so 6.4, while Lending Tree, this is kind of one of those high flyer, revolutionary or really disruptive kind of companies. So we can kind of compare these two a little bit. So Lending Tree, let's go to the monthly, because I think the monthly really shows how absurd Lending Tree went. Let's see here if this loads properly. Yeah, there we go. So this one IPO'd, I think it was early 2010, it could even be 2009, but I think 2009 would show if that was the case. So this one had a ridiculously strong run, but mind you, this is over 10 years. So kind of an interesting perspective here of what could happen. And if we go to PFSI, this one is a little bit, let's go to the monthly again. This isn't, I would say, as disruptive. This is kind of like your benchmark mortgage financing company. So this one IPO'd, shot higher, and then pulled back a little bit. And I'm kind of thinking that Rocket Mortgage is going to be a similar thing. I think Rocket Mortgages, really their main aspect is really the fact that they have a quicker online service, and it's been talked a lot about that they've been taking a lot of Wells Fargo's business, but I do think that is maybe at one point something that the other companies could catch up with. So I don't know, we'll see. How hot do I want to be about this one? It's tough to say. To be honest, this is really not my forte in trading IPOs, but I do like the base here around 22. So dip buying this one for quick day trades is probably something that I would consider, and maybe doing some sort of investment on this one as we see maybe some lows get priced in, and then averaging down could be a decent little investing approach. For now, if we go to the 15-minute chart, you can kind of see here we had a little bit of a blow off top, but we're overall holding our highs. And what I really like about RKT is the fact that these dips here tend to not have as much selling volume, so that's always a really bullish sign. And if we just kind of go here to the oops, that's not what I wanted, the 4-hour. You can see we are still kind of maintaining a really nice uptrend. So I would probably guess that there's going to be an attempt to break out from this high of 26.85. So I think, over the next few days, next few weeks, it's going to be a really interesting company to be trading. Now, there is what are the high flyer possibilities? Like, how disruptive is this company? And I think a recent IPO that we could maybe think about is BYND, Beyond Meat. Now, this was one of those disruptive businesses because, oh my God, partnerships with McDonald's, replacing all the meat, yada, yada. Before you know it, people are only going to be buying BYND. And then you look at the stats from other meat industries and, can it replace all that? So it's just like, where's the valuation with something like with BYND? And with the mortgage industry, you kind of have all the numbers in front of you. You kind of have, a pretty steady idea of the growth. So it's not as easy as a story to sell to maybe some eager investors as like BYND. So if we go back to BYND and check out how this one opened up. So let's quickly, I can even type it in up here. BYND always goes a little bit quicker. Although I think if we go to the monthly, it's going to be just a little bit too far with BYND. Hold on, let me pull it up here, BYND. See which loads faster. So when BYND IPO'd, they were also kind of picked up and they just, absolutely went explosive. And then they came back, retest the IPO zones and kind of averaged out a little bit. But this is, I don't really see that happening to rocket companies because, again, it's just like one of those things that we could kind of predict the numbers based on the growth, right? You can kind of understand, okay, well, we're having, 19% growth year over year. So maybe we're going to see something consistent until it maybe levels out a little bit like that. And right now, the overall market is really high. How many more loans are going to be going out? Maybe it's even going to go down a little bit. So maybe, getting overly aggressive on something like this is going to be a little bit more tough. And so that makes me a little bit more pessimistic on this overall setup. Well, BYND, when this one IPO'd, it just, flew through the roof. And, it's one of those things. It's like, how fast is it going to take over everything? All these good reviews, all these videos coming out, people trying the product. I just don't feel like you're able to get that hypey behind something like RKT. But then again, who knows? Maybe it's going to have a lot more people starting to follow it. And then, fear and greed kind of drives the price up before it has some sort of blow up top like BYND. But to me, I have a little bit harder time getting behind something like RKT. As an investment, throwing into my overall portfolio, it probably would be something I would like to do, but it's something that I would like to maybe see some sort of rounded bottom or some sort of base come in first before, buying into some sort of explosive IPO prices. So that's kind of how I feel about BYND. Talking about some other kind of harder to judge plays, or actually not really true, but rounded bottoms and something where a base starts forming. We could talk about something like AAL, which we talk about sometimes on the live stream because a lot of people are looking at it and it's good fun. It's also one of my live swing trades right now on my $25,000 challenge account. So AAL, for example, you can kind of see here we had a little bit of a rounded bottom forming, and you know, at first I thought we were going to get, I have a few videos about AL, but I thought we were going to have a nice little Adam and Eve pattern here, and then we were going to have a nice reversal back above 12, and then ideally into the 13s, and then taking profits between 16 and 18. At first, it kind of took a while here, and when we were dipping below 11, I got a little bit nervous in this place, but when we cracked $11 with low volume, and then we bounced right back above it with a hammer candle even, I felt fairly confident, and I almost averaged down to this one again. But based on how we distribute our $25,000 challenge account, I was already fairly heavily allocated in this trade, and I didn't want to overextend this trade. So hindsight's always 2020, but that was a big reason we held through this. And now again, I'm looking for my original target between 16 and 18. So what I really want to kind of talk about here on AAL is the fact that, and the reason I'm talking about AAL is because we had a bit of a bottom kind of coming in here. And this is even after their earnings came out, and the earnings were horrible and the stock price even went up. I mean, that's because AL really fell off a cliff, found a bottom here at 1825, and the second wave, bad earnings, all that stuff inherently seems to be priced in a little bit. So it's not like with RKT, it's like where's the actual valuation? And again, I think probably one of the best things you guys could do on your own time is going through some comparables, checking out, what these guys' market caps are, checking out what their kind of base is, their business model, and then trying to figure out, is it more of a lending tree? Probably not, because it's not peer-to-peer. So it's probably more like some of these other finance companies. What are their PEs? What can we maybe see out of RKT, and then kind of going from there. But I think besides day trading RKT, I'm not totally sure if I'm going to be trading or swing trading it or investing in it at the moment. Again, it could break through 27 and then have a nice blow off top or something like that. This could be fun to day trade, so we will probably look at it again and again, but at the moment I probably will be a little bit more pause off on this one, but still really good fun to check out and great to kind of review a little bit. Again, for trading IPOs is not really something that I typically do too much, mainly because of the fact that you don't know where it's really priced in. You don't have a lot of history behind it to try to figure out the price. So it is a little bit more risky, obviously. And I trade small caps. I'm trading elite gappers on the day, stocks that are up, 100, 200, 300%. And I even still find RKT a little bit risky because you don't have that historical price. With these small caps, even though they're moving very quickly, you have a little bit more historical data. You can rely on maybe key support and resistance zones holding. You don't really have that with RKT, besides maybe now that we know RKT, this kind of this $20 zone, $22 zone is kind of interesting. So if we do come back here to 22, I would probably consider doing a little dip on this one, especially if we crack 22 with a low volume, then buying around 20 would be a beautiful little day trade. But again, swing trading investing on this one is probably going to be something I'm going to be a little bit more pause off, but I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on RKT. I don't think I have any really mortgage companies in my overall portfolio. So, adding a company like this with really sound fundamentals and really solid year after year growth, I think would be a beautiful addition into any portfolio in the long term. Again, once you could kind of better estimate, is this some sort of base? Where's the support on RKT? So that's kind of my overall analysis on RKT. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on RKT. Definitely drop them in the comments below. And yeah, don't forget to drop a like, guys, if you enjoy the content. If you're totally new here, quick little reminder, we trade small caps. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to review the watch list and then trade the market open. Consider joining the community. It is absolutely a wild place. It's grown so much and it's just absolutely good fun. I couldn't be more proud of it. I'll see you guys then first thing tomorrow morning. No, wait, that's not true. I'll see you guys first thing Monday morning for the live stream. Till then, guys, stay safe, make some awesome trades, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Till then, ciao, ciao.